All right. Hi, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us, farmers and ranchers, for our FAQ, frequently asked questions for FSA Farm Loans. Whether you are starting your farming journey or you've been farming for years, there are times when a little extra support can make a big difference, especially during these times. That's where the Farm Service Agency, FSA Loans, can really come in handy. These loans are designed to help you start a farming operation, grow your farming operation, sustain your farming operation, or if you have some trouble, rebuild your farming or ranching operation. And so if you are looking to buy or lease a farm or a ranch, if you need to buy or lease equipment like a tractor, irrigation systems, or greenhouses, if you're looking to expand your land or business operations, or if you've been hit by a natural disaster like drought, floods, or storms that have damaged your crops or buildings or equipment. If you answer yes to any of these questions, FSA loans may be the solution that you've been looking for. These programs are built to get you the resources you need when you need them so that you can keep doing what you love, growing food, feeding families, and supporting your communities. And so this webinar is going to explore how you can utilize FSA loans to invest in your farming future. Next slide. So just a little bit of housekeeping. Everyone is on mute. You'll have an opportunity to ask questions during the Q&A portion. This webinar is being recorded and it will be shared with attendees post-webinar. And you don't have to wait till the Q&A portion to ask questions. You can, if you already have some questions floating around in your mind, you can just start to drop them in the chat and we will answer them as they go. Next slide. So today's webinar is being hosted by the National Young Farmers Coalition and RAFI USA. Young Farmers is an intersectional coalition, and we work for justice and collective liberation of our food and farm systems. We shift power and change policy to equitably resource our new generation of working farmers. RAFI USA is a 30-year-old nonprofit based in North Carolina whose mission is to challenge the root causes of unjust food systems. RAFI USA advocates for sustainable, equitable, and just food systems. Their programs are Farmer of Color Network, FOCN. They have a farmer hotline and resources for resilient food systems. You can learn more about both of our organizations at youngfarmers.org or rafiusa.org. Next slide. So my name is Ebonee Stevenson, and I'm the USDA Access and Accountability Organizer here at Young Farmers. Shakira and Rachel, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Hello, everyone. My name is Shakira Regoza, and I am the FSA Technical Assistant. So if you reach out for help, I'll be the one helping you with your loan application. Welcome.
Hi, everybody, and I'm Rachel Stewart, and I am also I help with technical assistance. So it'll be Shakira or myself or both of us assisting you as you apply for your FSA loan.
And then T, would you like to introduce yourself? And I want to make sure I pronounce it right.
It's Malexa. Hi, I'm T. Turner. I'm the Farm Services Director here at RAFI. And then I'll pass it over to Malexa to introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Milexa Polanco, and I'm the Technical Assistant Provider at RAFI.
Awesome. So next we're going to go over FSA loans and eligibility. And then we're going to do the 10 most frequently asked questions, and then we'll open it up to the Q&A portion for you to be able to ask questions directly. Next slide.
Okay. Ebonee, did you want me to do the poll questions here before?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're going to share a poll with you just to get a little bit more information about you and the TA that you're looking for. And so if you could answer this pre-webinar questionnaire. Question 1, are you familiar with FSA loans? Question 2, have you applied for an FSA loan before? And question 3, would you benefit from TA, technical assistance, support with applying for an FSA loan. So we're going to take a minute to give you guys an opportunity to fill those out right now. Okay, now we're going to get ready to close the poll. Okay, awesome. So, and then there will be a post poll at the end just to go over to see if you are interested in receiving technical assistance from our organizations, or if you have any other questions or any other support that you would like from our organizations. So, what is the Farm Service Agency, FSA? The Farm Service Agency is an agency within the USDA, the United States Department of Agriculture, that supports farmers and farming communities. They offer a variety of programs, including disaster relief, conservation efforts, commodity price guarantees, and loan programs through state and county offices. For the purposes of this webinar, we're going to focus on some of the loan programs. So, when we talk about FSA loans, it covers a variety of different loans. It includes ownership loans, operating loans, emergency loans, and it also covers youth loans. And there are also some other loans that the FSA offers, but these are the ones we're going to focus on today. And in addition to that would be microloans. So we're going to cover guaranteed loans, direct loans, microloans, emergency loans, and youth loans. And like I said, you don't have to wait till the end of the webinar. If you want to ask a question, you can drop your questions in the chat now. Okay, next slide. So starting out with FSA loan eligibility. So you must be an owner or operator of a family farm. It doesn't have to be like self-proprietorship, like single owned. It can be an LLC owned or any of those entities. You must have legal ability to accept responsibility for the loan obligation, inability to obtain sufficient credit elsewhere, an acceptable credit history, a sufficient managerial ability is going to ask you for, you got to have some experience in managing a farm. We'll go over that in the requirements. A U.S. citizen, non-citizen, national, or legal resident alien, no previous debt forgiveness by the FSA, no delinquency on federal debt other than IRS tax debt, no federal crop insurance violations, and no federal or state convictions for controlled substances. There are some more requirements, but these are the basic ones. You can always get more information about this by contacting us directly, or you can visit the FSA website, which we'll go into at the end. Next slide. So we're going to start out with guaranteed farm loans. So guaranteed farm loans are loans that will help families, farmers, and ranchers obtain loans from USDA commercial lenders. And so some people ask us questions about this all the time. Like, what's the difference between a guaranteed loan and a direct loan? So a guaranteed loan is when the loan is coming from a USDA approved lender, versus a direct loan is when the loan is coming directly from the FSA. And so for guaranteed farm loans, you can use them, for example, to buy farmland, to finance your agricultural productions. And the FSA will guarantee farm loans through a commercial lender up to $2,251,000. Ownership loans can be used to purchase farmland, construct or repair farm buildings like barns and other fixtures, develop farmland to promote soil and water conservation. Let's say if you live in a drought-prone area and sometimes your water well doesn't have the right capacity due to drought, you can use it to, let's say, install water tanks on your property. That's an example. Or you can use it to refinance debt. Okay, operating loans. Operating loans can be used to purchase livestock, cows, chickens, goats, bees, you name it, farm equipment, tractors, any equipment that you need to run your farm operation, feed, seed, fuel, farm chemicals, insurance, and other operating expenses. Operating loans also may be used to pay for minor improvements to buildings, costs associated with land and water development, family living expenses, and to refinance debt under certain conditions. These loans, oh, I'm sorry, you got ahead of me. These loans may be structured as term loans or lines of credit, depending upon the purpose and intended term of the loan. Next slide. Okay, there is also the Easy Guarantee Program, which is available for guaranteed farm loans that are of a smaller for up to $100,000. This program provides a simplified guaranteed loan application process to help small, new, or underserved family farmers with early financial assistance. And it's for up to $100,000 for operating or ownership purposes. To qualify for a guaranteed loan, you must be a citizen of the United States or a legal resident alien, which includes Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, Guam, American Samoa, and certain former Pacific Trust territories, have an acceptable credit history as determined by the lender. Remember, guaranteed loans are with an outside commercial lender that's approved by the USDA. Have the legal capacity to incur responsibility for the loan obligation, be unable to obtain a loan without an FSA guarantee, not have caused FSA a financial loss by receiving debt forgiveness on more than 3 occasions on or prior to April 4th, 1996, or any occasion after April 4th, 1996, or either an FSA direct or guarantee loan, be the owner operator or tenant operator of a family farm after the loan is closed. For an operating loan, the producer must be the operator of a family farm after the loan is closed. For a farm ownership loan, the producer also needs to own the farm and not be delinquent on any federal debt. So that's guaranteed loans. Next slide. So direct farm loans. Now remember, I said the difference between guaranteed farm loans and direct farm loans is that guaranteed farm loans are guaranteed by the FSA through a commercial lender. Direct farm loans is when the loans are made directly from the Farm Service Agency. And so FSA's direct loan program is designed to help farmers start, purchase, or expand their farming operations. From beginning farmers who have limited financial history to qualify for commercial credit, to farmers who have suffered financial setbacks from natural disasters, FSA offers a variety of loans to provide additional resources for farmers who need to establish and maintain profitable farming operations. Farmers may apply for direct loans at their local FSA office or online. You can use direct farm loans for ownership, purchase a farm, enlarge an existing farm, construct new farm buildings and or improve structures. You can use it to pay closing costs, promote soil and water conservation and protection. These direct loans are available up to a maximum of $600,000 for the ownership loan. Microloans are also available for up to $50,000 for ownership. And then the maximum repayment term is 40 years, not including the microloan. Next slide. For operating loans under the direct loan program, you can use them to purchase or lease machinery and equipment. You can use them for minor real estate repairs or improvements. Let's say you have a barn and you use that barn to, let's say you have a beekeeping operation, and that's where you process your honey, that's where you package your honey, that's where your office is, where you ship your honey. You can use it for minor real estate repairs or improvements. You can use it to refinance debt. The maximum amount for operating direct farm loans is $400,000. There also is a $50,000 microloan for operating, which Shakira is going to cover. Next slide. Okay, now I'm going to transfer it over to Shakira. Shakira, you have the mic.
Okay, everyone, just want to make sure, can you hear me? Yes, hopefully.
Okay, so we're gonna cover microloans. The advantage of these microloans is they have less eligibility requirements. So this is a good entry loan for beginning farmers who are in small production or into niche crops, let's say like mushrooms, microgreens, anything of that nature. And so microloans offer more flexible access to credit and serve as an attractive alternative for smaller farming operations, like specialty crop producers and operators of community-supported agriculture programs. They have different or two types of microloans, as Ms. Ebonee mentioned. There's operating loans, so you can use these loans for operating expenses. That are limited or including but not limited to initial startup expenses, annual expenses such as seed, your fertilizer, utilities, land rents, marketing, distribution, even your family living expenses, purchase of livestock, equipment, other materials, essentials to farm operations. So there's a wide range of things you can use these loans for. The operating loans have a maximum loan amount of up to $50,000. That's enough to get you started or get you through one growing season. Next slide, please. Okay, so the second type of microloan you can get is a farm ownership loan. These can be used to purchase property or also to be used as a down payment to purchase a property. You can also do home or farm improvements. Let's say you have a barn and you want to update it into like a processing or a packing facility. It can be used for these long-term improvements to structures. Also, you can use it for paying the closing cost, and it also will help with some of the conservation practices that you're implementing. That's long-term, like putting in irrigation infrastructure or fencing. And also on the ownership loans, they also have the limit of 50,000, and farmers are able to combine these two together, so you can get a microloan for a total of $100,000. So that'll be 50% ownership and 50% operating. Next slide, please. The second loans they provide are emergency loans. These are good to help farmers that have been hit by declared national disasters. These loans can be used to restore your property, to replace essential property, pay all or part of production costs associated with the disaster year, and cover essential living expenses such as your mortgage, utilities, also to reorganize the farming operation and to refinance certain debts. Next slide, please. So what qualifies as a national emergency or a disaster? It would have to be designated by the president or the Secretary of Agriculture as a primary disaster or quarantine area. And it has to occur in all the United States. Disaster designated by the FSA administrator also authorizes loan assistance for physical losses only in designated and contiguous counties. So for example, if you have a loan out or if you are receiving updates from your local office, they will issue an email or to let you know that there has been a national disaster declared in your area and let you know of the opportunities to apply for these emergency loans. They're available for established family farm operators that have sufficient farming experience. So you would have to already be farming to be eligible for this loan. And another eligibility requirement is that you must be a citizen or a permanent resident of the United States. And you would have to show that you have suffered a loss of production or that it was below the normal produced amount, and have eligible or acceptable credit history and unable to receive credit elsewhere from commercial sources. So if you've already reached out to a bank to get assistance, then you would be able to go to FSA. And you should have some type of collateral. Let's say if you have your farmland itself, you can put that as collateral for this type of loan. And you have to show that you will have the ability to repay once you have restored your farm back to its working capacity. Next slide, please. Okay, and this is an exciting program for beginning farmers who might qualify. This is the youth loan. The youth loans are available for farmers, beginning farmers ages 10 to 20 years old, and you can apply for up to $10,000 to get started and get your foot in the door. And these are kind of a good pathway to getting your ownership loan or your microloan, because your experience in the youth loan program will count as farming experience for the next program that you will be applying for. So what qualifies as a project, potential project for this program? It would be anything dealing with farming related practices, raising a garden, raising your first calf, livestock, or growing crops. And it must be something that the youth is taking ownership of. So it must be initiated, planned, and managed by the youth. Then they also are allowed or encouraged to receive assistance. Sorry about that. So they need to be paired with the FFA leader or a mentor for this program. And you can be, the youth must be a member of a group like 4-H, FFA, a tribal youth organization, or another agricultural club. And one thing about these loans, they usually are due within 1 year. So I didn't mention the terms on the previous loans, but the youth loans, they usually are have a repayment period that's shorter than the other loans. Usually at the end of the project, like once you have made that income, then your loan is due once it's completed. Next slide, please. Oh, so I kind of got a little bit of head here. So we did talk a little bit about what are the different types of projects that are available. So you can buy livestock, seed, equipment, or any operating expenses. Next slide, please. Okay, so we are to our frequently asked questions section, where we'll go over some of the questions we see a lot as we're helping. I'm going to turn the time over to Rachel to go over some of these, and then we'll open it up for some of your questions that we may have not have gotten to.
Thank you, Shakira. So the first question is, if I submit a farm loan application online with the Farm Loan Assistance tool, will I get a copy of my completed application after submitting? No. You are able to review the sections of the application before submitting, but an FSA 2001 is not generated for you. You can contact your farm loan office or your state office and request a copy. To submit an application with this method, eAuth account needed. Ability to see your application process and updates, you have to set up an e-authorization account, which the link is right there. Next slide, please. What are some exceptions for the 3 out of 10 years of farm managerial experience for farm ownership loans? So there's an agricultural related degree, management experience of running your own business, military experience, or mentorship. Next slide, please. Do you repay your loan in monthly installments? FSA loan payments are typically due as an annual installment. You may make payments monthly, biannually, or annually. Next slide, please. Are there particular sections of the FSA 2001 where errors are frequent? Form FSA 2001 requires applicants to provide additional information for FSA to determine if the applicant has the training, education, or experience required for the requested loan types, and the applicant meets or other loan eligibility or approval requirements. It is always okay and beneficial to include supporting documentation with your application and be as detailed as possible. Next slide. What is an acceptable credit history for an FSA farm loan? So it shows timely payments. They're not looking for a specific credit score, flexibility if the payments are not made, and if they're not made timely, and showing that it was out of your control. So that's where it's not based on a specific score. It's more on each specific situation, which you can talk to them about. Next slide. What occurs if the loan application submitted is not complete? The FSA will notify you within 7 days after submitting an application if there's missing documentation. Then you will have 15 calendar days to provide the documentation, or your application will be withdrawn. And can you apply for an FSA loan as a nonprofit or charity? No, nonprofit organizations generally cannot apply for the Farm Service Agency loans. FSA loans are primarily designed to support farmers and ranchers who are engaged in agricultural for-profit activities. Next slide. Do urban farming businesses qualify for FSA loans? Yes, farm businesses in urban areas can qualify for Farm Service Agency loans. Can you appeal if your FSA loan application gets denied? Appeal to the National Appeals Division, NAD, is an independent division within the USDA that reviews agency program decisions. NAD conducts administration appeals hearings to review FSA decisions. Farmers have the right to appeal FSA decisions directly affecting them, including loan denials. The NAD findings are binding, and the FSA must comply with NAD's determination. Do I need to go into my local office to get a farm number? No, you can submit your farm number application and documents virtually to your local office and receive your farm number via email. Next slide.
Sorry, I don't know why it's not. Give me
Is that the
one
last
second.
slide?
I believe it is. Hold on, let me check.
That should be, I believe that's the last slide.
Okay.
Okay. Did you all want to transition to opening the floor up for any additional questions?
Yes. All right, there I am. So, those were the 10 most frequently asked questions that we typically receive when we are providing technical assistance to farmers. And so now we're going to open it up. If you didn't get your question answered, or you just have a question about whether it's operating loans, ownership loans, if you have questions about microloans or the youth loan or the guarantee versus direct loan, now will be the time to ask them. You'll also get an option with the closing poll to be able to select if you would like us to follow up with you, for you to receive technical assistance from us. I'm going to go to the chat right now.
And I just gave permission to Jennifer, who asked 2 questions. I wanted her to expound a bit more on, because she said, what is the technical assistance for with RAFI? And it says the FSA agent does this. So Jennifer, if you want to unmute and just expound on your question.
Yes, I was curious. So you're saying that we need to go to the FSA agent, not to RAFI. I was curious, you said you're available for technical assistance. What can you expound upon what that means?
Right.
Yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Ebonee.
So our technical assistance is a little bit different from what you would receive from your local office. As someone who has applied for a farm loan myself, so typically what we offer is basically wraparound technical assistance from the beginning of the application all the way up to the submission of the application. That covers everything from looking over your application to make sure everything is correct. That goes over looking at your numbers to make sure that your numbers are correct. Because what we have seen is that sometimes farmers will submit an application and their numbers don't add up. And so the FSA wants to see that your farm, whatever your farm entity is, will make enough profit to be able to pay off your farm loan. If your whatever your farm entity is not going to make enough profit to pay off your farm loan, then you won't get approved. And so this is why we do comprehensive services as far as helping you with your farm plan, making sure your numbers are correct. We provide even TA as far as, let's say you want to get into livestock and you're looking at, you know, what kind of livestock should I get? Like we offer comprehensive technical assistance. We've even helped people who have looked applying for an ownership loan, and you know they needed help to be like, oh well, I want to start this farm and enterprise. What should I be looking for? What area should I be looking for? Are there any other outside resources? We offer help for farmers from the beginning of the application to the end of the application, and even post application. We've even troubleshooted for farmers who had issues with their local offices not getting back to them on time, had issues with their local offices, you know, denying their application, and then us following up with them. So we offer, I think the word I should say is comprehensive technical assistance. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. So essentially, if the FSA agents are not, I guess, as timely or helpful or as thorough, you are there in the background to make sure everything is together so that when it's handed off to this FSA agent, things will go smooth because we have you on our court, correct?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you.
No problem.
And there was a few hands that were raised. If you want to, you should have permissions to speak now. So go ahead and ask your questions. You can unmute and do so.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is Monique from South Carolina. I'm just got one question. When she was talking about the direct loans and what have you, what is the collateral and for that when you're applying? And is there something that would I have to have money saved up to match that what I'm requesting or applying for, or not?
Hi,
Rachel?
Monique.
Oh,
Yes.
Hi,
Hi, Monique
Rachel.
from South Carolina.
Yeah.
First, I wanted to answer one part of I think it's Jennifer's question that she put in the chat about, do we need to find a farm first? And yes, the answer is yes, unless you're applying for an operating loan. If you're applying for an ownership loan, you do need to have the farm first. Like know where you're looking to buy, the price and things like that, and then you go to submit your application. And then so Monique, for your question about the collateral is supposed to be the land itself. Okay, but there are times where they will look at other land that you own. They will definitely look at other land that you own, and they will take that land as collateral as well sometimes. So not typically, it's like if it's your house or something in an urban setting, but it's a variable. But yes, they definitely will take other land that is in your name for collateral as well. They are
And
in their
equipment.
handbook. What was that?
And equipment.
And equipment, and they are allowed to take up to 150% collateral. So that means more than the loan amount of what you're requesting. But if you do not have any collateral for them to take, then they just take the land that you're purchasing as the collateral. And as far as like down payments, there's no down payments or anything like that. So it's whatever money you need to do as earnest money, which is completely negotiable between you and where you're purchasing. And then the only fees are that they cover the appraisal. If you want to get any surveys done or inspections done, you cover those. But I'm trying to think about the closing costs. But yeah, it's very minimal what you're paying. Ebonee and Shakira, do you know about the closing costs? About how much? I know there's a certain amount, but it's very minimal for the closing costs as well.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact amount, and it also depends on how much of the loan that you're asking for as well.
Mm.
That's something if we can save that question so that we can get an answer as far as, but I know 150, it's up to 150%. But we have seen that states have sort of, and Rachel, you've seen this too, that states have basically discretion sometimes, whether they do the whole 150, whether they do 100. And so it honestly varies by the state office. But it can be up to 150%, up to the key statement.
And I highly recommend Jennifer and Monique, if you are thinking about applying, definitely talking to the technical assistance providers before approaching your local office.
All right, cool beans. Thank you.
And yes, that's great, Rachel, because, and that's actually why that last question that we put on there. Oh, I just realized that you guys couldn't see me. I'm so sorry. I just realized that the last question that was in the FAQ was about the farm number. And so we advise farmers to apply for their farm number virtually to save them some time from, some farmers, your local office can be an hour or 2 hours away, depending on where you live. And so, save the gas money, save the headache, and you can apply for your farm number virtually. You can submit the documents to your local office via email, and then they'll respond to you. And then if they need any follow-up or if they have any follow-up questions, they'll respond via email, and then you'll get your farm number via email. And so this is just based off of our experience over providing technical assistance over the last almost 4 years. And we want to make this process as smooth for farmers as possible, because I've applied for FSA loans, Rachel has applied for FSA loans, Shakira has applied for FSA loans, and it can be a hair-pulling experience depending on who you get or who's in your local office. And we just want to make the process as smooth for farmers as possible to get you from point A to B, whether that's getting you from beginning your
Hello.
ownership application
May I ask my
to
question?
yeah,
Sorry,
hold on one
we
second.
have
You hear me?
a waiting. Yeah, we have a few people waiting ahead of you.
Yes.
Yes.
My
We have
question.
we have people. Yeah, we have someone ahead of you though.
Okay.
Yes. So like I was saying, whether it's from getting you to the beginning of your application to getting you on your farm, or if you're getting an operating loan, getting you from the beginning of the application to you being able to buy that tractor or other farm equipment. So yes. So who's the next person in line? I can't see.
Oh no, it's fine. We had some people put theirs in the chat. So Becky R asks, if I receive a farm ownership loan, can my partner or spouse be on the deed?
Definitely, and I highly recommend this because if something happens to one of you, it makes the farm still continue going, and you'll both go through the credit process and all of that on your application. But I definitely recommend putting both of you on there because, like I said, if a life event happens or something like that and you don't list your spouse on there, and they will ask you if you are married, and I definitely recommend, I never recommend lying to the federal government in these situations.
Thank you for that, Rachel. And then we had Ashley ask, so if I have no experience other than my own growing at my home, the microloans could go towards the cost of purchasing land or farm to expand and grow?
So
And
for
Yes.
ownership loans,
if
there
you need
is
more
a
clarity,
requirement for 3 years experience. So if you have 3 years producing, then you can use that toward purchasing land. But the microloan ownership loans do require that 3 years ownership, farming experience. And Rachel, you what is
For
your understanding?
for the microloan ownership, it has the 3-year requirement. Shakira?
That would be a yes. That's bad. I need to mute.
okay, hopefully Shakira can come back and fill in her answer.
Yes. And then because And the question was that you had experience growing on your own property. Were you just growing for personal consumption, or were you growing as an enterprise and like selling your crops or things like that?
It was for my own consumption, but wanted to expand or actually grow and kind of branch out on that. But finding the funding to do that was where I've kind of come into the issue. So that's why I was wondering if the microloans could go towards like purchasing a smaller piece of land to start that, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Hi, Ashley. I don't know if my mic is working better. So for growing and purchasing, if you have experience selling what you've purchased, then that would qualify for the 3 years experience. But what you can do, what I suggest is also you can use that microloan for operating expenses, which could be to lease land just to get you started so you can show that experience.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and I think Gatson, you had a question, sir. You can go ahead and unmute if you're ready.
So my question is, I am growing food on somebody's land. So, but I have my own house in the city. Can I use it as a collateral to get a farm loan?
Are you leasing the land that you're growing on?
Yes. And to get, if I want to use my own house, my property where I'm living in, can I use it as a collateral to get a farm loan?
For which one? Are you looking at a loan to purchase your own farmland, or are you looking
Yes.
at, okay. So yes, so if you have the 3 years of experience, and you're looking to purchase a farm, whether you're looking at the micro loans or the larger loans, they'll typically, like we said, up to 150% collateral, which is typically the land that you're buying. So let's say, I don't know what part of the country you're in, but let's say you farm a farm and it's 50 acres and it's $150,000. I know that's probably unrealistic in today's inflation prices, but let's just use that example. And so they can collateralize up to 150% of the amount that you requested. And so if your house is not on the land where your farm is going to be that you're looking to purchase, if the farm actually covers the collateral, then you'll be fine. But if it doesn't, sometimes they will collateralize any other land that you own. So it's really a case by case basis, and it depends on your local state office.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
And I think Stephen was next, but it looks like his audio is connecting. So Monica in the chat asked, what documentation would I need to provide to show proof of 3 years of experience? I am growing as an enterprise in experimental crops.
It depends on which loan you're applying for, because on the micro loan, for the operating loan, it says you do not necessarily have to have documented farm income or the management experience. That's like the third bullet point on the farm operating microloans. But if you're looking for a larger loan or that the ownership loan, then they will want some type of record or proof. It can be sales, it could be receipts, it could be taxes, things along those lines. Please feel free to add Ebonee and Shakira.
Yes, all of those were correct.
You can also use your county average for crop production.
The what average for crop production?
The county average.
For my county?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then also I'm part of it's an organization called Keep Growing Detroit, and so that's where I get the seeds and some of the plants and things like that from. Would having that membership also show those things? Because I know that the amount of sales does not matter, but the sales have been low because obviously the first year is typically the worst year because you're trying to figure out your growth. Because I'm doing an urban garden, and so that's why I was asking about the 3 years because I've been doing this longer than 3 years, but I've only been documenting it for 3 years, and then when I finally created the LLC. That is what gives me the 3 years. So that's why I was asking specifically, what do I need to come to the table with for
The sales can be really low, and it can be an upside down. You know what I mean? Where you're putting in more money than is coming in because of all of the things that you mentioned. All of that is still fine. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was okay, then these are 3 years of profit. Because again, buying equipment, fencing, staff, volunteers, and all of those things, even volunteers want t-shirts and pizza.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so the revenue is still low. Okay.
I think part of the 3 years is to show that you know how to keep records, or that you are keeping track of, whether it's expenses or sales, to show that you're not just doing it for fun, that you are trying to do it as a business.
Yes. And then I had to pull it up just to make sure that I was specific. So when we were talking about the micro loans for operating loans, different things can qualify, such as the FSA will consider if you have small business experience, any experience in a self-guided apprenticeship, such as a means to meet the farm management requirement. And that will assist applicants who have limited farm skills with the opportunity to gain farm management experiences while working. Let's say you had a mentor and you worked on a mentor's farm. You said, volunteer experience. The thing about the application under the tab for farm experience is that you want to be as detailed as possible with your farm experience. Like if you have any post-secondary education or you taking any classes regarding farming.
Yes.
If you have any significant business management experience where you're responsible for the day-to-day management of a business, or military leadership. And so, so there are certain different things that you can use for that requirement.
All of the above. That was my last question I was going to ask. Was I heard you say something about military experience, and I was like, well, how does generalized military experience relates to farming unless you worked on a military farm? Is that what you guys are talking about? But yeah,
Well, it's talking about
100% service connected veteran. Yeah.
So under the FSA, their definition of military experience is some military leadership or management experience.
Yes.
It says, and this is as a general rule, any officer or E5 or above will have completed an acceptable military leadership course.
Okay. Yeah, I have that as well. Okay, so I'm well qualified. All right.
Awesome.
In that case, since you added in all those extra things, also I've participated in and participating in the local CDFI's small business programs, and specifically this one is one for food. This would be the first year for the one I've done with the food, but I've done it with other businesses. I have a holistic health and wellness company, which ties into how I got into farming, because the food chain is broken. So then that picks that up too, which I didn't realize. Is there a place that we can go on the website that says all of these things come into play? Because that will I know that you guys just squelched a lot of my anxiety, so I can only imagine what it does for other people.
Yeah, so if you just go to fsa.usda.gov, and you can pull up the fact sheets of any of the programs, whether it's microloans, guaranteed loans, direct loans, emergency loans, youth loans. All of the programs have their own fact sheet, and that website is a plethora of information.
Okay.
And then Shakira or Rachel, what's the other website for farmers? Is it farmers.gov or something like that? Yes,
Farmers.gov.
Yes, that you can also utilize to go on, and it has a plethora of resources as well.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Thank you.
No
I
problem.
don't know how to remute myself. So hopefully
I can
somebody.
do it for you, Monica. No worries. And I think Steven, you had a your hand raised for a question. Did you still have a question, sir?
While we are
I
waiting,
have been having audio problems, so I'll just listen.
or
Okay.
you can just drop it in the chat. Drop your question in the chat.
Someone asked anonymously, 6 months ago, or stated rather, 6 months ago, I brought 3 acres to start a market garden farm. I have 3 years experience volunteering on market garden farms and also on my own backyard, but never sold myself. What would be a good loan to start buying tools to finish my barn, etc.?
So I would say, and Rachel, Shakira T chime in. I would recommend if you're do you just if 3 acres market garden, and you have 3 years of experience volunteering on a farm, but never selling, I would recommend a microloan to start out. And basically, it's like you're getting your feet wet because we never encourage people to get a large loan when it doesn't make sense. And so, as we said, the USDA in your farm plan, FSA wants to see whatever you're selling on your market garden is going to make enough profit that is going to cover the cost of the repayment of your loan. When you crunch your numbers, if your numbers, as the youth say, are not mathing, then you are not going to get approved for an FSA loan. And so you want to make sure whatever crops that you're selling in your market garden that is going to make you enough profit to cover the farm loan repayment. And then if you're looking for the loan for tools to like finish your barn, definitely I would look at an operating microloan. And so that's what I would recommend. You can go on the fsa.usda.gov website and look up the fact sheet for the operating microloan. Or if you need some more information and would like us to provide TA to you, make sure you put that in the post quiz.
Also,
hope-
I would like to mention that they're very specific about not doing loans for farm workers, but for management and farm owners. So it
Yes.
kind of depends on how you feel in your abilities and what your history is and how you present yourself when you are talking to them about the whether you can get approved or denied, or even that 3 years since you do have it. If it was farm, even though it was volunteering, if it was managing there, then that means you may qualify for the ownership microloan as well. So it kind of just depends on your specific need.
Thank you, Rachel. And then Jahara asks, can the proof be annual reports?
Is this annual reports for a for-profit farm?
Jahara, you should be able to unmute and expound upon your question.
Oh, yeah, it's for an LLC farm.
Yes, then you can use annual reports. Just like if it's an LLC, or if it's a corporation, and it shows your profit loss, you can use that.
Okay.
Rachel, you were going to say something? I see.
Yes, because I see Jennifer's question about the taxes, and it doesn't necessarily have to be 3 years of taxes. Yeah, so if maybe you didn't even make enough money to file taxes, and things like that, then it doesn't necessarily have to be taxes to still qualify for these loans.
So do the annual reports have to show our financials? So, because some of mine are for different audiences. So should they show the income and losses of each year?
I mean, you don't even necessarily have to use your annual reports. If you have receipts, like sales receipts or online receipts or however you sell your products. If you have those, then you don't even have to show your annual report. You just need something documenting to say, hey, I ran this type of operation. Um, I made this much money, et cetera. So even if you have not filed your taxes, you need that documented. And so you necessarily don't need your annual report. I just think like if you have like receipts or anything, what you use to generate your annual report, I think that's sufficient enough.
Thank you.
No problem. All right. Anybody else?
I'll answer the relationship with a field agent. It's not relationship based. So it's more about what you put down on the application. So it doesn't necessarily matter who you know because they have to base your approval or denial off of what's on the paper.
And then there was a question about how can new farmers share this info? Like I said, if you have farmers that you like to share this info with, you can always share the website fsa.usda.gov. If you know farmers and they're interested in learning more about FSA loans or they would like to receive technical assistance, you can refer them directly to us. T is going to pull up the slide again with our contact info. So please write it down. They can email us and we'll follow up with them directly. If you're on the call and you would like to receive technical assistance from us, please take down our email addresses and shoot us an email and we'll follow up with you.
And then I just wanted to respond to Stefan. Yes, the farm plan is like the most important part of your application as well. So if you can create, you need to have the farm plan on your application, which is what you're looking to produce and to farm. And it is going to show your projected cash flows. So any local assistance, however you can, but it's important to think about it and create it. So that's wonderful that you have a program providing that assistance as well.
I'm also gonna launch that second poll, which is just now that we've gotten to the conclusion of the webinar, if you could just fill out these questions about what you've learned today, that would be great.
And then if you have a question that's directly related to your personal situation that you may have not felt comfortable asking on the webinar, but you would like to address, do feel free to reach out to us. My name is Ebonee Stevenson. I'm the USDA Access and Accountability Organizer here at Young Farmers. We also have Shakira Regoza and Rachel Stewart, our FSA technical assistance consultants. And then we also have T over at RAFI. T, can you share your slide with your contact info?
I just wanted to give them an opportunity.
And we also have Melexa Polanco, who also provides TA at RAFI. So you have a plethora of people that you can reach out to make sure that one, you know what the process is for applying for an FSA loan and whether or not it makes sense for you. Like I said, when we work with farmers, when we run the numbers, if what you do doesn't make sense financially, we don't recommend that you apply unless your farm plan makes sense and that your numbers make sense. And so if you're having an issue creating your farm plan, putting together those numbers, if you are looking to purchase farmland and you need some help with the process of the application, feel free to reach out to us. That's what we're here for. And so please answer the closing poll questions, which are, did you learn anything new about FSA loans from this webinar? Are you ready to apply for an FSA loan? Are you more confident with applying for an FSA loan? And if you would like to receive technical assistance with your FSA loan application. And I just want to say thank you so much for joining us for our FAQ webinar on frequently asked questions about FSA loans. Like I said, if you would like more information about FSA loans, or if you would like to receive technical assistance, please feel free to reach out to us at RAFI USA or National Young Farmers Coalition. Thank you so much and have an awesome and amazing day.